WAU7N testing.
p.m. Weather condition clear. Temperature 64 degrees.
Good evening. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society, a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with digital amateur television in the DVB-T format. We transmit on 70 centimeters to a crossband repeater at Cougar Mountain and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. To find out more about our group, please Google WW7ATS. That's Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our homepage on the internet. There you'll see the exact frequencies we transmit and receive on. And also we'd like to thank the CTEC Repeater Association for letting us use WW7STR's repeater 14708 for our voice transmissions. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or needs to make a contact before our net gets fully underway.
Hearing none, welcome to the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Signed into the net already is Ron, KD7QKU. Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles. Richard, K7ITX in Kent. Jim, N7QO in Covington. James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Carlos, AD7NP on Clyde Hill. And this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Also, there's a possibility that Bob, K9PQ, may come aboard. So is there any other people that would like to check in? Hearing none, we'll get the net rolling. Let's start with Ron, KD7QKU in Tacoma.
QKU. Well, Dave, when you stopped transmitting on ATV, then I couldn't. So I don't know. It's nicer when you transmit and talk, I think, because then I can hear it on the TV set. So anyway, I guess I said that, KD7QKU. Well, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. It looks like we have another small group. We can't seem to get a bunch of people together. So I'll start off with kind of an interesting story. Joanne's niece and her husband Richie, they have Kona Coffee over in Hawaii business. But anyway, out on Shady Acres Airport, they own an airplane hangar and a piece of property. And of course, their mother and father-in-law, they have a big house and an airplane hangar and a bunch of property on the other side of the airport. So they pretty much just use the hangar for storage. It probably has an airplane and at least a half a dozen cars and a boat. I don't know what else. I've been over there once or twice, but it's got a lot of stuff in it. But they don't live there or anything. So the other day a neighbor called and said, gee, I'm surprised to see that you put your property up for sale. And Jenny said, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have any property up for sale. And she said, well, there's a real estate sign on your property. So Jenny jumps in the car and goes out there, and lo and behold, there's a white post with a real estate sign hanging on it. So she called the realtor and she called the sheriff. And I don't know who else she called, but anyway, someone had stole their identity and they had listed the property for sale. So the real estate company said they'd take the listing down. She's going to call the Attorney General. I don't know what all happened after that. But yeah, isn't that something? Apparently, they find this property that they think isn't being used and they steal the identity and then they sell it. And I guess they do it to people, old people too. And one day somebody comes out and puts a eviction notice on the door that you nail it on the house that you have to leave. My brother kind of experienced that in Bellevue. He bought a house. A guy had died, a really nice home, but it was pretty filthy inside, so he had to clean it all up. And they had another home in Bellevue, so they sold that home and then they moved into that one. They went on vacation. They'd lived in the house for a year, or nearly a year. And someone called and said, hey Ron, there's an eviction notice on Bud's door. And I said, what are you talking about? I went over there and there was an eviction notice on it. So he was on vacation, so I had to call him. He had to come home and we had to move him out of the house. Then he had to hire a lawyer and go to court. And it was just by the grace of God, I think, that the lawyer realized that the people were crooks that were trying to, get the house. So he did keep the house, but it cost him a bunch of money. So there's those people out there doing this stuff every day, I guess. So Richard, when we were buying and selling property, Richard wanted me to have a real estate lawyer, which I just thought about today, and I thought that's what Jenny probably needs. And Richie is a real estate lawyer, but maybe they have one, I don't know. But I know their father-in-law is probably smarter than I am. I'm sure that they'll get the property back or it won't be sold or something, but what a mess. So anyway, KD7QKU, back to net.
KD7QKU, let's go to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Waiting for my call to come up here. There we go. All right, it's Lee in 7KC in Port Angeles. Yeah, that's quite a story, Ron. It's you hear these ads on Title Lock, and of course you think it can never happen to you. Uh, I was down at the courthouse here in PA a couple of years ago, and I says, "What's this title lock business about?" I says, "How can somebody potentially steal our house?" They didn't even know. Now, Paula's dad had property up on Camano Island, and they had neighbors that they had known for years and years. They had like 5 boys, and then um, they only went up there on weekends, sometimes not every weekend. And then they come to find out that one of the neighbors' boys, good friends of theirs, had put a lien on their property to get a big loan. All right. And so he knew enough about them and so forth that he was able to convince somebody. So what it did was it just kind of destroyed a good friendship. Anyway, the kid's a crook. And it cost him a lot of money to get that cleared up, an attorney and all that sort of thing. Anyway, it's a big deal. You wouldn't think such a thing could happen, but apparently it does. Today, we're just having lovely fall weather here in Port Angeles. And today I got the Invar central rod in my big Ridgeway clock. Um, the clock runs pretty well. It's got a gridiron pendulum on it, but normally they're used for temperature compensation, but it turns out all the rods are fake on it. And this is a very expensive clock. All the rods are there, they're just not connected right. So I decided that I would replace the central rod with an Invar rod, and I completed that today. And the clock now I have it set with a phone app. There's a phone app that you can stick in something like that, and it listens to. This makes 3,600 beats. It's a seconds pendulum. It makes 3,600 beats in an hour. So you tell this gadget that. So what it knows, it's supposed to be 3,600, and then it counts how many there are in an hour, or fraction of it, and so forth, and then tells you what the offset is. So I can very rapidly, without a lot to do, I have it down to like 7/10 of a second per day now, and it will do better than that. It's been around when the temperature is constant at the right temperature, it'll keep a second a week without any problem. Yeah, not widely known, but before GPS and whatnot, CZ beam clocks, I should say, probably. The most accurate clocks, astronomically speaking, were pendulum clocks. And there was one made, a synchronous pendulum thing, one in a vacuum, one not, that would maintain 1 second per year. That's pretty snappy for a mechanical clock. Anyway, so I'm kind of fun to get that done. I bought the rod, the Invar, threaded the bottom, made a new adjustment bob for it, and then machined a little brass clip for the top of it, and I replaced the central rod, which was holding that pendulum, with Invar. Invar has 1/10 the thermal coefficient of expansion as steel, which was in there. So the clock would run very well within a second as the temperature stayed constant. But when the temperature started to change, why, it was up to 6 seconds a week, something like that. Maybe not such a big deal, but we're after something different here. Anyway, so that's what I did today. Lots of fun. Back to you, Dave. This is N7KC Lee in Port Angeles. Looks like my video is there. We go. Uh, all right, Dave, back to you. I'm going to bow out early, but I'll go till the half hour.
N7KC, thanks with that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Well, let's see if Bob's with us. K9PQ.
And not hearing anything from Bob, K9PQ. Let's see if Richard's with us tonight. K7ITX in Kent. Well, let's go 3 for 3 and see what happens here. Let's see if Jim N7QO is with us tonight.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Wow, gentlemen, that's quite a story. Ron, stolen identity, property listed for sale. Holy cow. That's problematic. Lien on property to get a loan? Oh my goodness. It's what's happening in this world. That's terrible. Let's see, Ridgeway clock. Fake rods? Huh. Well, I'm sure stranger things have happened. Pendulum clocks, very accurate. Yeah, I'm not a fond student of history. That was actually my poorest subject, but I remember way back when, and Lee, you would probably be the one to know stuff like this. The pendulum clocks, of course, were not adequate for maritime use. I don't remember exactly how they solved that problem, but there were some extremely accurate marine clocks. If you think of it, if you remember, maybe next time you can enlighten us on that just a little bit. Well, let's see. A little bit smoky around our house here. I have to say that. In fact, as the sun was going down now, we had a pretty orange sky out there. I can't really smell it right now, but maybe it's just because I've been used to it from all day long. But otherwise, it's been a nice day here, not terribly windy. Right now, I've got 65 degrees here just south of Covington, and looking forward to a couple more nice days. Wish the smoke would go away, but we'll take what we can get. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks with that. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Let's pick up James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue.
Testing WU7N. All right, I'm on the air. Okay, well, wow, lot to talk about tonight. I think, Ron, your friends that own the coffee plantation in Hawaii, all of us in the Western Washington Amateur Television Society are kind of wondering where our free pound of coffee is every month. Maybe you could get on that. That's really good coffee if they make that Kona coffee. I had an espresso today made in a machine that has quite a problematic history, but apparently they've got it down, of all places, at a financial institution. They're these little, they look like kind of super pregnant quarters or $50, little sachets filled with coffee. You drop them in and then you push it. And I made 2 espressos in the bottom of a paper cup and smothered it in mountains of sugar and cream. And oh my goodness, that was delicious. I think I'm going to have to swing by there and check a balance every day now just to get the coffee. But I can only imagine how many calories were in my 4-ounce drink. Well, let's see. Identity theft. Yeah, actually, the big one right now is there is a group using. This is the approach is nothing new, but the finesse of this is new, and that is they call you, and on the caller ID, it really looks like the financial institution. It's got the number and the logo and everything, and it's saying, "Oh, we have detected this huge funds transfer to Lower Yahupistan from your account. Did you approve of that?" Of course, you didn't. And they say, "Well, we want to stop it right away, so we might be calling you back." And so then you get your text message with your 2-factor authentication that many financial institutions now are telling you straight up front on the little thing you get on your phone, do not give this number out to anyone, even if they claim they're from us. Even if they were from, Wells Fargo Bank, don't give them this number. Because what they do, of course, they call back right away and say, okay, we need to prove that you are you. We just sent you a magic secret code number, so tell us what that number is. And of course, that's the last thing they need to make a real illegal withdrawal out of your account. But here's the catch. Now that financial institutions are putting that warning on there, don't give this number out to anybody, even if they claim they're us. If you give it to them, it's your problem. When they steal the money from you, the institution doesn't cover you. They say, sorry, you gave them the number and we told you not to, so have a nice day and we hope you'll have fun trying to get your money back, working hard. So that is something new on the scam market. And I did see a complete video on this, and it really is very slick how it's being done. Because there are institutions that when you call them, they will say to you, oh, well, we need to know you are you. So we sent a magic code number to the last phone number we have for you. Tell us what that number is. But that one doesn't say, don't ever tell us this number. So is that confusing enough for you? And of course, the other big news, the Secret Service broke a sim farm in New York that somebody had. I just looked at that equipment. Someone has a mind-numbing amount of money to put something like that into service. That I don't know if you saw the photographs of that, but just shelf after shelf after shelf of those SIM servers with SIM cards piled up all over the place. That is absolutely mind-boggling. Well, let's see. I believe the thing that the pendulum clock never could be used for maritime application. I believe the big breakthrough was the spring, wasn't it, Lee? You can confirm or deny this. But I believe the King of England offered some big amount of money to the first person that could get a spring chronometer to work. And that was harder than you might imagine, given the technology and metallurgy of the day. But they finally did do that. I think it was in the 1600s they came up with the first one, but I don't know. I thought the really accurate one came much later. I'll have to look at that. So, it is amazing. The most accurate timepiece, I think, in my house right now is what I'm holding in my hand, the phone. I remember my dad would always set his very nice, I don't know what kind of clock it was, a wristwatch to WWV every day because he was in the military. Now, if you don't know it, you can always dial, let's see, it's 303-499-7111. That's 303-499-7111. And the National Institute of Standards and Technology will tell you exactly what time it is. So with that, let me turn it back to Dave, our net control. This is James, WU7N, Whiskey Uniform 7 November in Northeast Bellevue. Let's turn it back to
WU7N, thanks with that. And get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Let's pick up Carlos, 87 MP in Clyde Hill.
Okay, good evening everyone. This is 87 NP from Clyde Hill. I was taking some notes. Thank you, James. I didn't know about that. I was just seeing it here on the screen. 100,000 SIMs using 300 servers. Oh, sorry. Ron, say again. Ron says he's not seeing my picture. Yeah, I can see my picture on the repeater. So it seems to. Yeah, my picture is on the repeater. So I'll leave the microphone. I'll leave the microphone on. So Ron, you should be able to hear me here also, and then I'll disable it. So I was just saying, thank you, James, for that news. I wasn't aware. 100,000 SIMs on 300 servers. So that seems like quite impressive infrastructure. On the fraud and kind of fraud over phones, I really appreciate those messages when they, for sure they know which company I work for, and then they send me messages offering me loans for my company. So they would like to offer me a $100,000 loan in case my company needs it. I need to send this to the chief financial officer to see if that would be helpful. I was curious when Lee mentioned, or I was due about the maritime clocks. I was reading about it and the progress that was done. Clearly, the pendulum clock wasn't the solution. So, but the need for accurate time in maritime environment definitely push the need for a solution there. So that's good to see. Also, Jim, I'm curious if the TV signal is working for you today. And Ron, when you were transmitting, there was a mix of the sound coming from the TV and from you also at that time. And for some reason, your camera on the TV side is a little more yellowish than the one that we see on Discord. I don't know, there's some lighting. And Dave's signal was coming out just fine on the TV repeater also. So that's also good to acknowledge. I'm trying that same microphone that used the other day, so I hope the audio level is adequate. I'd love to get the report afterwards. And on the clock side, I don't know, Ali, I don't know if you were here. I got a time grapher because, oops, my signal went off and is back. I got a time grapher to measure kind of the watch timing delay, and that's an interesting piece of equipment also to measure the watch, and because I like mechanical watches, mainly the automatic ones, and I love seeing the time graph report on that. That's it for now. I think Bob had mentioned that today he would not be available. He reported that it was a little down and he might be listening. So Bob, I hope if you're listening that you feel better soon. And I'm going to send it back to Dave, Net Control from 87 NP in Clyde Hill.
87NP, this is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. I've got 64 degrees and clear. Boy, today was an outside exercise day for me. I've got a fir tree in my front yard, and boy, it's been shedding pine cones. And they're fir cones, not pine cones, but they're about 3 inches long and about an inch in diameter. They come in the hundreds. And so I've been raking those up, and I had one of those 90-gallon bins for recycling filled up with those little pine cones today. So anyway, I got a lot of good exercise outside doing that. And then inside, cleaning up some stuff in the basement. Again, making a little more space. Some of the things I no longer need. So as you age out in life, there's always some need to get rid of stuff. And so I'm working on that. But boy, do I have a lot of stuff to get rid of yet. So that's about it. This is Dave, KD7ZYM in Lake City. So let's go up to Ron, KD7QKU.
I don't know if I can get a picture in. I don't know if you can see me. If you can see me or not. I don't see myself coming back. So anyway, I'm not receiving anything. I was doing just fine halfway through the net here, and then all of a sudden it lost the signal. It said it was searching. I just had a flash in there, and it was a picture of James and Dave together. So I don't know what's going on. So let's see. My TV says no signal. Searching. So anyway, and then I see James again. And I see part of my picture maybe. And yeah, I don't know what happened to my camera, but my color has gotten a lot more yellow-orange. I don't know if I can fix that or not. I guess what will be for a while. I'm lazy, I guess. If it works, don't touch it. But right now, nothing's working. I had this problem the other day, too. Let's see, what else did I do? Well, I went to the store. I went to 2 stores. It seems like, I'm not an unusual size. Really, I don't think. Pretty average, but they seem to sell out the Levi's or Wranglers or whatever I try to buy. Way more clothes than I need. And sports jackets. I kept 3 sports jackets, I guess, just in case. And then I had, I don't know how many pairs of slacks, probably about 10 pair. So I went through, I threw all my Dockers away. Or I didn't throw them away, I'm going to take them to Goodwill. Tan Dockers. It seems like I never wear that stuff anymore. So, and then all my slacks. I kept 3 pair of slacks, a black pair, a gray pair, and kind of a tan pair. So if I go someplace, I either have to wear jeans or I have to wear, I have a black pair and a gray pair of pants that are similar to jeans, but they're not jeans. And then now I have just 3 pair of slacks and 3 sports coats and a ton of shirts. Joanne said I need to get rid of shirts, but I don't know. I probably do. Half of them I don't wear. The shirt I have on, everybody I think probably thinks I wear the same thing all the time. Well, I wear these suspenders and they're black, And so I like to wear, dark colored shirts because so the suspenders doesn't, stand out so bad. So I probably have a half a dozen of these blue shirts. I do change shirts, but I put on another blue one or another black one or dark colored one. So I wear dark shirts most of the time. And Joanne was kind of giving me a bad time, but let me let her drop. I remember years and years ago when we were going to church and everything all the time, Joanne said I needed some new slacks. That I'd wore my slacks so much that you could see the billfold, had worn on, the imprint on the back of them. And she said, you need some new clothes. So I went down and I bought exactly the same thing I had. I think I bought, like 3 pair of pants, with maybe a black, a gray, and a brown. And she was all upset with me. I don't know what she expected me to buy, maybe purple or something. I don't know. But I mean, all my jackets, all my shirts, and everything, they went with those pants, So I had to get the same thing. But women aren't like that, I guess. They want something entirely new, not just something that's freshened up. All right, that's enough. Back to net, KD7QKU.
Katie.
Thanks with that. Let's move on to Lee, N7KC in Port Angeles.
Okay, there's my call. Soon to be some video, I think. There we go. All right, it's Lee again, N7KC in Port Angeles. Jeepers, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't interfere with anybody. I changed. I'm changing my habit. When I stopped streaming the first time, I left the pointer on that tab. And then in the course of Ron talking, I looked down and it said stop streaming. Well, I must have somehow tapped the pad here while I was working. Anyway, yes, Carlos, you sound great. You look good. Everything's working good. I saw Wade pop in there for a second. And Carlos, I use Time Grapher. Uh, I just put the Invar rod in yesterday, of course, and so I was going to have to retime the clock. And so today, I I had Time Grapher on my cell phone. Oh, you actually bought the unit. Well, I have the app on an Android app on my cell phone, Carlos. It works pretty well. Anyway, I moved today from 2 parts and 10 to the fourth to 8 parts and 10 to the sixth. And it was all because of Time Grapher. Normally, when I do that, I have to go for 2 or 3 days and count the total number of seconds and then what my offset is, and then just compute, what the accuracy is. But Time Grapher allowed me to get there much faster. Now, I'm not done yet. 7/10 of a second per day. This clock will do better than that. And so I'll be working. And turns out I found out the Time Grapher, I just set it right in the clock. And it worked good. But if there was any audio going on outside the clock, Time Grapher could hear it. And it basically screwed it up. And it was getting a pretty good signal inside the clock. But if I had the computer running, which happens to be near the clock, it messed up the plot. So the way it worked well for me was to basically start it, close everything down, walk away from it for an hour, and come back. And then I had accurate, stable results. And it worked very well. John Harrison, the Englishman, he got the prize. What was there, an 800-pound prize or something like that for developing the first clock that could be used for maritime service? They could get their latitude okay, and they used to sail across the oceans by maintaining a constant latitude with by shooting the sun with a sextant, but they couldn't They couldn't get their longitude. Anyway, he came up. They may have had balance wheel clocks before the mid 1700s, but what he did was he temperature compensated it, made a very, very nice accurate balance wheel that would work well for as a chronometer. And he won the prize. And there's an awful nice book by John Harrison that's out. And I saw a special, I think it was on, oh man, it was one of those, it was an hour-long program on the development of that chronometer. It was really nice. I had some breaks in the stream video, and they were breaks that X'd out normally the audio seems to be stored and then clocked out at a faster rate till it catches up. I thought that was clever, but I was missing whole sections of it. And I have plenty of bandwidth over here, so I don't know what's going on. I just, I don't know. I now have two nodes on my router. I'm going to add a third. I got a cognitive mesh, a Linksys, and let's see what else. I don't know. Anyway, the idea here, Dave, is just to have as much fun as you can in your golden years, if you please. And I got a lot of stuff I have a lot of stuff. I thought I would save it for my boy. He'll be happy. Well, anyway, I'm going to pull the plug now, but it's been fun seeing you guys tonight and hearing all that. And continued good success with the system. It's just magnificent. Oh, that SIM card business that they found, those 100,000 cards and all of those, whatever they were, apparently that was capable of doing 13 million text messages a minute. And I guess the plan was for denial of service or something is to take over some sites. So, yeah, how about that? That was a room full of junk. Anyway, so Dave, back to you. This is N7KC, Leon Port Angeles. I'll see you guys later.
N7KC, thanks with that. Let's move on to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
All right. Well, it sounds like I got audio on both 2-meter and the TV. Sorry I haven't been checking in. I was out all last week with the conference that was in Vegas that I was there for really fun and had a lot of met a lot of new people and yeah, not a lot going on other than that. Let's see. Pretty interesting topic with pendulum clocks. I had no idea that they could be so precise. I know my grandfather clock that I have in my living room, it probably loses a minute a day. It's definitely not very accurate. So maybe I could get it more accurate with one of those synchro applications or device to synchronize the pendulum. The pendulum in my clock is out of wood and brass, so it's probably not as accurate as a stainless steel. That sounds like it's very temperature, not sensitive, but tolerant, so it doesn't change a lot during temperature changes. And then the 100,000 SIM card farm, I guess their intent was to block cell phone coverage in New York City. I was just looking at a Reddit post that was talking about, I guess the Secret Service found the server farm, or the SIM server farm. So that's pretty interesting. And let's see, Veron, picture's been pretty good here at my house. When you were transmitting a few times at the beginning, your video kept cutting out. I don't know if that was my TV or my signal coming into my my computer, or if that was an artifact of maybe a signal problem at your place, but it seems to have corrected itself. I'm not seeing the same dropouts anymore, so yeah. That's about all I got for this round. Nice seeing you, Carlos. Nice hearing you, Jim and James. Everybody's coming in pretty good tonight, so I will turn it back to Dave, Net Control.
W7ITL, thanks with that. Let's pick up Jim in Covington, N7QO.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, Jim, double espresso. Yeah. Okay, do they have complimentary donuts? I might have to switch investment firms there. That's pretty good. And at SIM card farm, yeah, I saw some video of that, and my understanding was that was an intent to do a denial of service as well. What I saw on television, I thought that was shockingly impressive. Wow. And I used to sync my wristwatches to WWV when I was working, but I no longer time anything that closely anymore. I just try to show up 10 minutes before I'm supposed to be somewhere, and if it's 9.5 minutes or something like that, I call that close enough. So that's just what I do now that I've retired. Carlos, you were asking about the ATV video. It's still frequently freezing on me, but it's not nearly as bad as it was the last two nets. Don't know exactly what to make of that, but anyway, that's the way it is here now. Dave, fir cones. Yeah, just wait until the windy season begins. Is that usually October? Another month or so. The trees will all get a good shaking. See more cones and more needles, and for sure some of the hardwood trees will begin losing leaves as well. That might improve my reception of the television repeater. We'll see what happens. Ron, talking about finding clothing. Yeah, I don't wear any jeans because I can't find any short enough to fit me without the added cost to have them hemmed. And so usually I wear dress slacks. Kind of looks a little bit strange, but I can get them that fit me. And so I use them even for painting or doing yard work or whatever. I don't know, just a little strange. Everyone's shaped a little bit different, and it's like my wife is 4 inches shorter than me, but her inseam is 2 inches longer than mine. So somewhere there's a 6-inch difference between the two of us. And I don't know, it's interesting. I guess long in the torso, maybe to keep warmth in if you're in a colder environment. Is that there must be some rational reason for all of this. But anyway, that's my story. And Lee, if you're still listening, good night, and thanks for the chronometer info. Wade, good to see you, good to hear from you. I do have pictures from everyone. Yeah, sorry I'm not sending any yet, but anyway, back to you, Dave, N7QO.
N7QO, thanks with that. Let's go over to James, WU7N. What say you, James?
On yet? Whiskey Uniform 7. All right, looks like I'm here. This is James, WU7N in Northeast Bellevue. Well, a lot of, well, first of all, I have to say, Jim, it's not whether you get there 15 minutes early or not. It's the fact of how close can you get it. I saw an interesting YouTube video. A guy in Switzerland had taken several, apparently, at least at the time he made the video, easily purchased boards in China and got his GPS antenna to the point where it could register movements on the centimeter range, which I thought was absolutely amazing. He could move it along a wooden post, and it would actually record the difference. But then the sad thing is when I actually started clicking all these links to see where this stuff was, for some reason, maybe my VPN or whatever, it had to go through YouTube and then through Amazon, and then somebody else had to get their cut. And by the time it actually got to where you could buy this stuff, I couldn't see it anymore. It wouldn't connect. But I haven't really given up on that project, because to me, that's pretty amazing that if you can move an antenna a matter of a centimeter and see it recorded that far away from the signal sources. Now, of course, I was in a lab, 30, 40 years ago, where we were moving antennas back and forth, and you could actually see on a needle the antenna move back and forth. And so that, of course, if you only needed timing, 100 yards away, that worked really well. But if you went farther than that, it didn't really work all that great. And that's the area of radio direction finding and identifying locations of emitters. That amazingly has not advanced, at least publicly, in the public domain, not advanced nearly as much as I would have expected it to at this point. It's still pretty much back where it was in the 1980s, at least what's publicly available on the internet. Of course, I suspect there's quite a bit that is not quite so public. So let's see, what else? Thank you for confirming the award. I've got to seek out that documentary and watch it. I think that would be very interesting, or get the book and read it. Just so many things to do and so little time to do it all in. I had a rather intense physical therapy session today, and I am exhausted, so I think it's time for me to say 73. I'll hang in here till the top of the hour, but I'm going to go ahead and hand that microphone back to Dave, our net control for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. This is James at WU7N in Northeast Bellevue, and
WU7N, thanks with that. Let's move on to Carlos, AD7NP in Clyde Hill.
All right, this is AD7NP again from Clyde Hill. And good to see you, Wade. Good picture and great signal. And in fact, great signal also from Dave. I was just checking your DBM there. You're kind of on the same range as I am, so clearly you're either you kicked your antenna into the right position or something happened there, because you're definitely getting into it a very good signal. James, on the GPS, you might want to look into something called differential RTK GPS, which basically combines what is known as differential GPS, which is you have a fixed point that you know well the position and can make a differential for the one that is moving and receiving. And RTK stands for real-time kinematic. And one of the examples where this has been developed recently is for lawnmowers, when you want to have the precision of the lawnmower and kind of having a predefined route that you wanted to repeat, and on some of these GPS enabled ones. So you might want to look into that. Thank you for the report, Jim. Yeah, I don't know if just weather is better or the system is doing better, so that's good to know. And I think that's pretty much it. It's been quite a busy week. I think I missed it on Saturday. Family convinced us to go out for dinner, so I missed the Saturday net. But I think I'll be around for Saturday, and I know, Wade, we have a couple of issues to discuss. On the software side, I just noticed today that the repeater was still running exactly the continuation of the last 2 weeks of net, so it has been in a stable environment, and it just keeps running. So good to know that we achieve that level of stability that just keeps running, and the audio just flows on the different directions. So we're coming to the top of the hour, so probably my last one. So great to see everyone, great net. Thank you all, and I'm sending it back to Dave, Net Control from 87 NP in Clyde Hill.
'87 NP, thanks for that. This is Dave, KD7ZYM. And get a quick ID here again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine. Again, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. Well, the net's been moving along pretty good. The color's coming out good on the video, and it seems to be doing good. And the captioning is actually fantastic. I'm amazed how easy it is to see it come up so rapidly. And outside of that, here in Lake City, oh boy, 62 degrees out now. It's cooling down a little bit, and it's showing that it's clear outside. I don't know if we'll have any aurora borealis tonight, but it might be worthwhile to check to the north to see if something's on the horizon that direction. So with that, that's about all I've got to say. And those servers in New York, boy, from what I read, the Secret Service ended up getting a call on one of their cell phones that was unusual, and they traced that back to the batch where they were being transmitted from. Then they found out they had 6 different sites in New York where that was all set up to go. So what a fantastic, expensive event that they had planned. Who knows who paid the bill on that one. So this is Dave, KD7ZYM, and I'll move it back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Turn some volumes down and mute my TV. So KD7QK here in I guess it's North Tacoma. I guess I didn't hear that story about the SIM cards and stuff. I guess I haven't had the news or anything on lately. We were talking about watches. I haven't wore a wristwatch for many years. So my wife bought me a really nice one. I don't know if you can see it. It's a Citizens. It says Eco Drive, and you never have to wind it. It's either light or motion that keeps it going, and I have it laying where the light comes on every evening on a timer, and the lamp keeps it charged, I guess. I must have had it 20 years. I don't know really how long I've had it. The day is wrong. Apparently it doesn't keep the day accurately. So anyway, in my work I used to wear wristwatches, but I would bang them and I'd break the crystals and stuff in them. I have a watch that I did wear for a long time. Because what is it? It was kind of expensive too. I can't say what it is now. I finally had to take it in and have it cleaned and fixed. I remember it cost me, this is, many years ago, it cost me $150 to have it cleaned and fixed, and then it ran pretty good for another 5 years or something, then it quit. And that's when my wife bought me this one. And like I say, I wear copper bracelets, for arthritis on my fingers. I don't know if you can see my fingers, they're kind of crooked. And so I wear a chain on one and a bracelet on the other, and I've wore those for, I don't know, at least 20 years. More than 20 years, I suppose. So anyway, that's, I have to depend on my cell phone for time. So I usually, it was kind of funny when I was at work and I didn't wear a watch. It was no problem because, everybody started to work at the right time and then everybody quit when it was time to eat at noon, and then everybody went home, and so I just did whatever everybody else did. It worked out just fine. So anyway, so I guess that's it. Enjoyed seeing everybody and hearing your stories. So this is KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks with that. Let's move on to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
Well, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to call it 73. Nice seeing everybody tonight. Catch you guys later. W7ITL back to net.
W7ITL. Well, let's go to Jim, N7QO in Covington. And that would probably be a final.
N7QO. Thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. I heard that tomorrow night is supposed to be the last night that sunset will be after 7 p.m. So the days are definitely getting shorter, and won't be too much longer, another month or so. I don't remember exactly when, but we're going to turn the clocks back again. So going to be dark sooner, and winter is rapidly approaching. I don't know why I had that terrible thought, but I did. Anyway, thank you all for participating. Look forward to the next net. Good night, all. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
Good evening. The time is 9 p.m.
N7QO, thanks with that. And wrap up the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association, letting us use WW7STR's repeater 14708 for our voice transmissions. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, terminating the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening, all.
Node 3607215 disconnected. Node 56456 disconnected.